Every time life runs you to a breaking point, you will give up and quit. You will back away and run. You will say, this is too hard, this is too emotional, this is too stressful, and you will back away. You cannot be a champion until you have survived a breaking point.
It's easy to become distracted, especially with all of the chaos that's going on in the world right now. But you have work to do. And so it's important that you keep your focus in the right place. It's important that you keep working towards crossing the finish line.
It takes courage to achieve your goals, man. It takes courage to be successful. It's scary. Being like everyone else, doing what the masses do and following the herd, that's easy. It's easy to be comfortable. It's easy not to try. It's easy to give up. It's easy to stand on the sideline and watch while other people with courage go out and get all this for themselves that you want for yourself.
Courageous people are those who have a dream and set a goal, they make a plan, and they take the first step with no assurances and no guarantees that their efforts will result in success.
But adversity isn't something to fear, it's something to expect, something to prepare for, and something to overcome. The truly courageous person is not immune to fear, but it plays a different role in his or her life than it does for other people.
Every successful person you will ever come across has failed big, has failed often, but failure wasn't failure where they gave up. It was where they just learned what not to do and how they can go about it in a different way. They used every experience. How can this teach me about being a better person, to have better, to achieve better, to become better?
But most people spend their life not wanting to deal with the pain of rejection, the pain of defeat, the pain of being disappointed, the pain of losing, the pain of failure, the pain of being criticized, the pain of not being liked, the pain. That's called life.
Don't react against a bad situation. Merge with that situation instead. And the solution will arise from the challenge. Because surrendering yourself doesn't mean giving up. It means acting with responsibility.
Now, don't get me wrong. Fear is always going to be there, all right? No matter how hard you work. But you've got to start fighting back. You've got to start training your mind to beat fear down when it pipes up and tells you these lies.
If you want it, then go and get it. Don't wait till everything is perfect, because it's never going to be perfect. Your greatness will never be perfect. Some of the greatest minds, the greatest thinkers, the greatest innovators were looked at as crazy. They weren't ready for their greatness. They just took a leap of faith. Jump and grow wings on your way down.
We're built for struggle, us human beings. You're not after the bubbles of bliss that Dostoevsky described in Notes from Underground. We're built to contend with the world. We're built to contend with reality. You want a challenge, and the best way that you can take on a challenge, because a challenge fortifies you. So you don't want to be secure, you want to be strong. And you get strong by taking on optimal challenges. And so you lay out your destiny in the world, and you take the slings and arrows of fate, and you make yourself stronger while you're doing so. And you might fail, and fortune might do you in. But it's your best bet. And, people have extracted unbelievable successes out of catastrophic failures. And I'm not saying that in a naive way. I know perfectly well what happens to people. You're doing fine in life, and then you get cancer, and then 6 months later you're dead. And all the heroism in the world isn't going to save you at that point. But that's not the point. That's not the point. Life is bounded by mortality. But that doesn't mean that you don't get out there and contend, and you develop by contending, and you minimize the net amount of suffering in the world. And that's something, man. That's something to do.
So occasionally, and this is true for everybody, if you live long enough, life will come for you at some point, right? Like something's going to happen. So occasionally life will stress you. But when life doesn't challenge you, I think it's important to challenge yourself, because otherwise you're just living in this optimal environment, air conditioning, and everything else is super easy. You can get all the information in the world at your fingertips. You never have to if you think about how crazy just eating is in the modern world. So previously, when we lived in tribes, you had to expend energy to get calories. At a minimum, you were foraging for berries, but otherwise you probably had to run something down and kill it, or part of a group hunt, or all kinds of other things. Now, you can get calories without expending any. All you have to do is just tap Uber Eats on your phone or something, and it'll show up at your door, and you can just sit on the couch, which is of course, like a recipe for poor health, but also just the game has completely changed now. We've transcended a lot of our evolutionary programming and natural situations. And so you need to be careful about designing that to serve you rather than to work against you, because it can very easily nudge you in the other direction.
Dare to go forward.